let's take a look at all the chord shapes, the most common ones that you're going to use. First of all, let me tell you the difference between chords and shapes. I want you to start thinking in shapes. So if I tell you an A minor shape, that's a little shape, okay? And realize it's the same shape as an E major shape, okay? Just because further on in your journey, you want to be thinking in shapes instead of in chords, okay? Because you want to learn the cage system, you want to learn other things, and all that is based on chord shapes, scale shapes. Everything in guitar is shapes. So we're going to talk about chord shapes that create chords. All right, so let's talk about the notes in the musical alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All right. Now, B and F are difficult chords to play because the only way you can play them is if you use a chord shape and place a bar behind it. So for example, an F has a chord shape with a bar behind it, and those are difficult chords to play. So we're going to be looking at A, C, D, E, and G. All right, and then I'll tell you the minors of those chords, and we'll go into B minors and stuff like that, because you can play them a bit differently, and they will sound a bit different, but you can get away with it without playing a bar chord. Okay, a B minor is a very difficult chord to fret as a beginner, but there are ways around it. So let's start with A. How do you fret A? You want to be fretting the second string on the second fret, the third string on the second fret, and the third string on the second fret. Now, any chord you fret, you can fret with any finger you want, right? Any chord shape you fret, you can fret with any finger you want. For example, I recommend you playing A with your pinky, your ring, and your middle finger, just like this. So pinky goes on the second string, your ring goes on the third, and your middle goes on the fourth string. And why do I recommend playing A like this? Because if you want to transform that into an A minor, I'm going to lift up my finger so you can see, but you would keep it there, right? So A would be like this, and A minor would be like this. So it's a very slight change. Once you learn this shape, these two fingers stay the same for this shape. Okay, but you can do it like this, where you use your ring on the second string, your middle on the third, and your index on the fourth. As long as these three strings, the second, the third, and the fourth, are fretted on the second fret, that's going to be an A shape chord. Let's move on to the next chord in the alphabet. Remember, we had A, B. B is a very difficult chord. Let's move on to C. Okay, C is also a toughie. Now remember, you can use any of your fingers you want, but I really recommend using your index, your middle, and your ring. So C chord shape starts with second string, first fret. Your middle goes on the fourth string, second fret. And your ring goes on the fifth string, third fret. It is a tough chord to get, okay? It's going to take time to fret that chord, and especially not to fret it, but to make it sound clean. Now there is a cheat thing you can do, which is just play the fourth, third, second, and first strings, okay? And now you can use two fingers. But if you play all strings, it's gonna sound a bit funky. So this is the full chord shape, and this is like the cheap version chord shape. Okay, let's keep moving on in the alphabet. A, B, C. We did A and C. Now A, B, C, D. Okay, let's look at D. D is, for some reason, I know the reason. It's because, like, remember I told you we as humans grab things like this? Well, D permits that grip without having to really bring that thumb behind the neck, and it's easy to fret, same as G. Okay, so G and D are like two really beginner friendly chords, easy to fret. Okay, so how do we fret D? There's two ways to fret it. We can either use index on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and middle on the 1st string, 2nd fret, and then we use our ring to fret the 2nd string on the 3rd fret. This is one way to fret it. Now, I never fret it like I'm going to show you now, but there is something convenient about fretting it like this. Instead of using these two fingers like this, we just switch them. Let me look at my camera while I do that. See how it's the same notes? It's the same fret. I'm just using the fingers reversed. And the cool thing about fretting it like this is that to play in D minor, you just have to bring your finger down. Okay, so, I mean, I never fret it like this, but I do see the convenience of fretting it like this, because if you want to play a D minor, it's basically the same thing, but this finger goes 1 fret lower. Okay, we'll talk about D minor later. So, that's the D. A, B, C, D. Next one is E. E is a very common shape. Super common shape. Alright, so E is index finger on the 3rd string, 1st fret. Now, I'm going to go in order in fingers, okay? Your middle finger goes on the 5th string, 2nd fret. And your ring finger goes right below it on your 4th string, 2nd fret. I'm moving my pinky out of the way so you can clearly see that chord. Okay, and it's a super common shape, super important to know. Now the next letter in the alphabet is F, and I already told you F is a very difficult chord to get right in the beginning because it's a bar chord. There's nowhere to play it without a bar. But there is a way around it, and at the end of this video I'll show you how to do it. Okay, and then A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Last chord is a G. Another very beginner friendly chord because it has that grip that you can really pull your thumb over the neck. I'm not recommending you doing it, but it does permit it. So if you're having trouble, you can bring it down to create more arc. But see how my fingers already have that natural arc? All right. So there's two ways to play a G. Remember, basic major or minor chords are created using 3 notes. And either if you play with 4 fingers or with 3 fingers, the notes inside the chord are going to be the same. So that's why you can play it both ways. I'm going to teach you the complete way, and then I'll teach you the simplified version, okay? So the complete way is, let's start with order. Okay, index finger on the 2nd fret, 5th string. Middle on the 6th string, the thickest string, 3rd fret. Ring finger on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. And pinky on the 1st string, 3rd fret. So, that's a G chord. Now the simplified version is, instead of fretting the second string, you leave it open and you just fret the third string. So it would be like that. I'm gonna take my pinky out of the way so you can see clearly. That would be the simplified version. But I like this one because then when we go to a D, this finger is already there. Okay, so if you get used to playing a 4, I also like how it sounds a little bit better. If you get used to play a 4-finger G chord, when you turn into a D, that's a very common chord progression, going from G to D, this finger will already be in place. Whether if you're doing like this, you have to move it to play a D. Okay, now let's talk about the minor chords, okay? The minor chord shapes. Now remember, we're talking about shapes, and there's only really 3 minor chord shapes you need to know, because, for example, a C, to play a C minor, you need to use bar chords again, okay? So let's talk about the first one, A minor. I already told you that if you go like this, it's an A, and if you bring your index to the second string first fret, that's an A minor. Okay, which is the same exact shape as the E major. You can use the same shape to play 2 different chords. Okay, that's why I want you to start thinking about shapes instead of chords. All right? Now, in the alphabet, A minor, B minor, we're going to talk at the end of the video. C minor, I already told you can't play without a bar chord, at least an open position over here. Okay, A, B, C, D. Let's talk about the D minor. D minor you can play in an open position, and the way you play it is index on the first string, first fret, and then you got your middle finger on the third string, second fret, and then you've got your ring finger on the second string, third fret. That's in D minor. Now remember, if we bring our index to the second fret, it becomes a D major. D minor, D major. Okay? Let's keep moving in the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E. E is another shape that we can turn into a minor shape in its open position, close to the note. Okay? And the way we do that, remember that E was like this? The way we turn E into E minor is just by lifting up a finger. I'm going to lift it up and exaggerate it so you can see. So this would be E major, and this would be E minor. Now you will see in YouTube videos that many people teach E minor like this. Like I said, the important thing is to fret this string at the second string, the 5th string at the 2nd fret, and the 4th string at the 2nd fret too. As long as you fret those 2 notes and play the rest of them, I can fret them like this, like this, like this. I could fret it like this. I could fret it any way I want, and there's no right or wrong. There's more convenient things to do and others. For example, if I fret it like this, I could use it to play a bar chord. Right? If I fret it like this, I could turn it into a major chord. Right? Or I could go from here to play an A major. So that's very convenient because I'm just bouncing strings and it's the same shape inside the chord. Now if I fret it like this, it's very convenient because then I can go over here and fret a G shape. So there's really no right or wrong. I would recommend fretting it like this, because you're going to use it to fret an E major, you're going to use it to fret an A minor, an A major. Okay, so this little shape over here is really convenient. You can also fret it like this to go to a G. Whatever feels more comfortable. Eventually you'll be able to fret chords with any finger, but that will come with a lot of practice. Okay, next letter in the alphabet is F. F minor you cannot do without a bar chord, same as F. And G, which is the next letter, you cannot do without a bar chord, same as F. So there's two more chords I want you to learn. Actually, three more chords I want you to learn. One is B minor, and the full way to play, normal way to play B minor is as a bar chord, which is very difficult. But I want to show you another way to play it. We're going to be using, one of them is using 3 strings, and the second way is using 4 strings. Okay, so 3 fingers or 4 fingers. So let's start with 3 fingers. Okay, so the way we do this is index on the first string, middle on the second string, 3rd fret, and ring on the 3rd string, 4th fret. And that's a B minor. Now remember, when you play this simplified B minor, I mean, you're learning. If you play all 6 strings, no worries, but try to just play the thinnest 3 strings when strumming, okay? If you want to turn it into a 4-finger B minor, this stays the same, but now you could potentially do it like that, where all this stays the same, and then you bring your pinky up. But I think it's easier to do it like this, where your ring finger goes to the 4th string, 3rd fret, and your pinky goes to the 3rd string, 4th fret. And now you can play across 4 strings instead of 3. Now remember, we're talking about shapes. Now get this little shape and bring it over here, and you have an F major 7, which is a cheat for F. Okay, so it's exactly the same shape than the B minor. Wait, B minor was here. Exactly the same shape. I only bounce frets and strings. Okay, so how do I do that? Index on the 2nd string, 1st fret, and then I've got my middle on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and then I've got my ring on my 5th string, 3rd fret, and pinky, we bring it down below our ring finger on that 4th string, 3rd fret. And if we accidentally mute the string, better. If we accidentally mute the 1st string, even better. Now if you want to bring down your index and bar these 2 strings like this, then it's actually an F chord. But it's difficult. Okay? And the last chord I want to show you is a B7. Now a B7 you can substitute for a B most of the time. That's why it's taught, because B is a bar chord. It's very hard, and it's one of the most difficult bar chords, but a B7 is more beginner friendly. So let's go in order. First finger, your index finger on the 4th string, 1st fret. Your middle finger goes on the 5th string fingers, 5th string, 2nd fret. Your ring finger goes on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, and then the 2nd string is open, and your pinky goes on the 1st string, 2nd fret. That's a B7. So down below you have a chord chart. Okay, we are going to do some exercises to change through those chords, but go 1 string at a time and see if you can make all those strings ring up with every one of those chords. Some of them are more difficult than others, and it is going to take time, and you are probably going to get frustrated, but just keep pushing through and practice those chords till they're clean, okay?